Tom, state of Michigan might not be New England when it comes to pro titles, but when you add a terrific college sports history, I know that's important to you, and you're not moving.
No, I always said, within 60 miles. I mean, look, you go down to Ann Arbor, East Lansing, you go down to Ford Field, you go down to Little Caesars. I mean, Comerica, all within from where I live in East Lansing. It's all easy peasy. I think it's a great state. My litmus test when ESPN comes on and says Detroit is on a roll sports-wise, like on Sports Center when they talk about the Pistons and the Tigers. I mean, that makes me feel good, and I think that's the ultimate measuring stick right there. It's outside of our own little sphere.
And every team of the professional teams right now has some sort of, it's not a crazy thought to think that they might win a title.
Right.
Yeah. Red Wings are the furthest away.
Yeah.
I don't think the Pistons, they're a few years away. The Tigers, they came a few outs from being in the ALCS last year. And the Lions, 2 years ago, they were a couple of drop passes or bad calls by Dan Campbell, whichever way you want to look at that. I look at it more Josh Reynolds than Dan Campbell from going to the Super Bowl. So, yeah, it's great right now. It really is.
And I think it's great, guys. The reaction of the fans to support the loyalty in this state, win or lose. They still keep turning out. Lions were still drawing crowds as putrid as they were. Stoney, we know that Detroit is due for a championship parade, but let's take a look at what's happened since 2019 and see the growth in these teams, the progress. We know the Pistons are plus 30 in a 1-year span. It looks like the Lions are on the verge of doing something that they have never done in the Super Bowl era. Can you remember a better time to follow sports in Detroit?
Well, the Red Wings and Pistons, 08, 07, 08, that whole deal. The Pistons didn't win a title after 04. They went to the finals in 05. But I remember there was a Saturday night. Game 1, I think it was 08. Yeah. Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals was Joe Louis Arena. Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals was at the Palace against the Celtics. The Pistons split in Boston. People were going crazy. And the Tigers, 2008, they got Miggy. Now, they had a horrible year that first year with Miggy, but there was definitely amazing excitement in this town. And then the Lions were 0-16.
0-16 football team.
Yeah, that's true too. And there was a college football team in Ann Arbor that was absolutely crap.
Tom, can you give me the order of those 4 teams to win titles? Who do you think breaks through first? Tigers, Lions, Red Wings, or Pistons?
That's a great question, but it's easy for me to answer. I think it's the Lions are the most optimum to win the Super Bowl, and then the Tigers are right behind them, and then the Pistons, and then the Wings. I mean, 9 years in a row without a playoff spot. Why would I be excited about the Red Wings? I mean, Steve Yzerman, what's the situation with his future? So I think that there's a distant fourth between the Pistons and the Wings.
I totally agree, and the order is perfect. The Lions are closest. Now, you could argue the Tigers, like I said, could have been and should have maybe been in the ALCS. And if they're pitching, if Flaherty gets back and, Mize is up, they have, once they get into the playoffs, if they do, they could go on a run because of their pitching. The Pistons are still a little while. They still need that one other great player. And the Red Wings, nah.
The Red Wings has been a long time, guys, with the Yzer plan.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering how much longer he has before this long honeymoon ends. And people say, I know you were a great player. I know you won championships in Tampa Bay. This isn't Tampa Bay, and you're not wearing 19.
Yeah. No, you're right. And, it's almost similar. Well, it's not similar because Dumars built it up and they won a title. But his last few years in Detroit were awful. And eventually he got let go. A lot of reasons for that. But, I think it's one more year, too, at least for the fans. We don't know what Chris Ilitch is thinking, though. That's the key.
Yeah. Stoney, I wonder what a Lions championship parade would be.
It would be, you wouldn't even have to worry if it was 10 degrees out. First of all, if I was the governor of the state, definitely the mayor of Detroit or any of the counties, the county executives, school, you're not having school, okay? Because there's going to be a parade. and it's going to be one of the best parades ever.
Jack and I always say it goes from Woodward Avenue to the Mackinac Bridge.
Yes.